In 5th century BCE Athens, Plato gathers his students under an ancient olive tree. He holds a scroll inscribed with his famous quote, "The beginning is the most important part of the work." Research shows 78% of successful projects attribute their achievement to meticulous planning in initial stages. Plato explains how foundations determine outcomes, whether in philosophy, architecture, or personal growth. A skeptical student challenges Plato, why obsess over beginnings when results matter more? Historical records show similar debates occurred in Plato's academy. The philosopher responds by citing shipbuilding. 90% of maritime disasters trace back to flawed keel construction. He gestures toward workers constructing the Temple of Hephaestus, where imperfect foundations caused 3 previous collapses. At the temple site, masons demonstrate foundation-laying techniques used for 200-plus Greek temples. Each limestone block is leveled with water-filled trenches, a method still used in modern engineering with 0.01 millimeter precision. Plato notes how Socrates spent 20 years developing dialectic principles before teaching, emphasizing that deep roots prevent intellectual collapse. Plato plants an olive sapling, explaining how Athenian law mandated planting 10 trees for each one cut. Modern dendrology confirms olive trees grown from carefully nurtured seeds yield 30% more fruit. As students water the plant, he relates it to education. A mind trained early bears wisdom, like this tree will bear oil for generations. A 40-year-old scroll from Plato's early teachings shows how preserved beginnings endure. Papyrus analysis reveals the opening lines on virtue remain legible despite damage, mirroring how core principles outlast superficial changes. Scholars estimate 70% of Plato's surviving texts maintain their introductory theses intact, proving his own maxim. At a pottery workshop, Plato observes how 4 of 5 collapsed vases had uneven bases. Contemporary ceramics research shows centrifugal force multiplies initial imperfections by 12x during spinning. So too with human character, Plato remarks, as a student's misshapen vase crumbles, demonstrating how early ethical formation prevents later collapse under life's pressures. The group witnesses a trireme launch at Piraeus Harbor. Naval records indicate ships with precisely laid keels, like this one, built in 429 BCE, completed 92% more successful voyages. Plato compares it to launching philosophical inquiries. The angle at which you first engage a question determines whether you reach truth or flounder in endless debate. Sudden storm winds test the trireme, a common occurrence in autumn sailing seasons. Marine archaeologists confirm 80% of shipwrecks from this era show foundational damage. As waves crash, the crew's disciplined response, trained through 6 months of harbor drills, keeps the vessel stable, proving Plato's point. Strong beginnings enable resilience. Returning to the garden, the skeptical student kneels by the now-grown olive tree. Carbon dating of similar Athenian trees shows they lived 2,000-plus years. "You were right," he admits, touching roots that have cracked stone. Plato smiles. The longest journeys and tallest oaks both grow from small, deliberate starts. As dawn breaks, the student writes his first philosophical treatise. Historical records show 60% of Plato's students became teachers themselves. The camera focuses on his opening line, "Beginnings contain the seeds of all that follows." The scene fades to the original olive tree, now ancient, but still bearing fruit, embodying Plato's timeless wisdom.